trying to solve two types of problem. One is design a material, the other is design with a material. Design a material means that if the fiber and if the raw materials are given to you, how do you mix them best to make a composite material which is optimal? And design with a material is that a composite material is given to you, you know its properties. Now you need to design something using that. So today's case study is about the first one. We want to design a material. Okay. So what is the problem that we are looking at? Okay, so we already discussed a few weeks back that the composite industry is, the Airbus industry is using a lot, the aerospace industry, sorry, is using a lot of composite materials. Also, now the US government or any other government is now increasing the mileage requirement for passenger cars. That in the US by 2025, every car should give you 54.5 miles per gallon. In India, I think the number is going to be something like 15 kilometers per liter, or some rules and regulations are on their way. Now, because of that, even the automobile sector has to use a lot of composite materials. Now, when you use composite materials, you are going to create waste like shown here. This is going to be, how is this waste created? Essentially, what happens is the raw material, the prepreg, comes to you in rolls like this. And you cut your prepreg scrap into different shapes that you like, make laminate, design parts. So for example, if I cut square blocks at 45 degrees, I can cut it to a large number, and then I will get the waste as shown in this figure. And there will be smaller waste. Sometimes all of these prepregs have also expiry date, so after some time they need to be thrown away. So in general, 30 to 35% of the raw material used to make composite part has to be thrown away. And keep in mind, this is expensive, highly engineered material. This is about, we are talking of about at least 10,000 rupees a kilogram. So what to do with this? And before, or 10 years ago or 5 years ago, the practice was to collect all this waste, dig a big hole and dump it in that hole. So not only are we wasting this highly engineered material, but we are also paying money to dispose of it. So it is clearly a problem. So now the case study we want to discuss is how to use this waste and design a material that is useful, and what can be practical applications of the material that has been designed. Okay, is the premise of the case study clear?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so yes, so basically our motivation is, if the waste is given, how can I make interesting parts such as the cover of the wheel, a roller skate, mobile phone cover, some parts in your bicycle, etc., etc. So this is the approach that they have been trying to do. So they collect the waste and they cut it down into small pieces. You can see, I think if you look carefully, you can see rectangular pieces everywhere. So this is this prepreg scrap which is collected and cut into small pieces. Either you automate it or you cut it semi-automatically. You cut it, you put it in some heated plate and apply pressure. So this is some sort of compression molding. You get a part which is inspired from your plyboard, and your part will look like this. Okay, because it is inspired from the hood product that we already see, this material that has been developed is known as composite oriented strand board. These rectangular pieces that you see are actually the prepreg chips that have been cut. Okay, this image, by looking at this, you can say it was taken somewhere in Spain. Madrid is where a big research center of Airbus is there. So it all now, but making a material is okay, but you have to keep into mind many things. The first is, what should be the size of the chip? Because the chip has been cut, it was lying out in the open for some time, does it lead to some property loss? what should be the temperature that I should put? So you remember in our previous slide, we have talked about heated. What should be the heated plate? What is the quality? So all these questions have to be answered. Let's see how we can answer. So the first thing that was done is that the chips were cut and left out in the lab, exposed to room temperature. It was seen that fresh prepreg scrap had very high void contents. Higher the void content, worse your part is. If you keep it to 14 days, the void content reduces. But if you keep it to 28 days, again it was increasing. And the second is, the larger the amount of force you apply, less the voids. Again, going back to few slides, we are saying that some pressure is applied. These arrows indicate that some pressure is applied. After a lot of manufacturing hit and trial, it was discovered that you have to keep it for 14 days, and the more the pressure you can apply during compression molding, the better it is. Okay. Now the composite is made, cross section is taken, and this is what your image looks like. Okay. These brown dots are your carbon fiber prepreg. This light brown is your matrix. These black are the voids. Now, one thing you will notice is that the shape of your strand was straight, but when you make a composite material, this has led to some wavy nature. What do you think will happen due to this wavy nature? If my fiber was straight to start with, and after some time it has become wavy, so what effect do you think it will happen on, it will have on the properties? Will it have good effect or bad effect or both?
So the longitudinal stiffness would reduce and the transfers would maybe increase.
Yes, this is not transverse, through the thickness properties will increase. So this is the thickness. Transverse is perpendicular to the screen of the paper. So you are right, the Young's modulus will decrease in the axial direction. Perhaps the through the thickness modulus will increase. It's also shock bearing capacities will increase. That depends on through the thickness properties. What do you think the voids will do? The voids in general are bad news. It will always lead to negative effects. It will lead to the drop in the properties, etc. Okay. It also leads to a challenge from a manufacturing point of view, from a mechanics point of view. If my fibers are wavy like this and they are short, can I calculate the effective properties? So to answer this, we did this following. So I was a part of this project several years ago when I was in the US. So we did the following. We cut the prepreg scraps. We had some sort of semi-automatic machine, and we kept on putting it till we saw that it was more or less uniformly, the entire table is covered. We broke it into multiple rectangular plates like this, and we put it on one top of each other, and then we put it under heat and pressure. Okay, this is one way we thought that we can make a composite. The second one was we cut it and we kept putting it in a box, and that box was agitated using some machine. Remember that if you have some small stones in your bottle and you shake the bottle, then all the smaller stones go inside and your entire structure gets compacted. So we thought, why not let us try to do that? So this is known as mechanical agitation. And then we put it in a compression molding. These are the plates that we get. Okay. This light brown color that you see at the edges, you don't need to worry about it. This is essentially your matrix which is seeping out. If we want to make a part out of this, we will trim out the edges. So this is not a problem as such, but you can look more or less the two plates by both the methods that I have described look very similar. Now, but just making a part or making a composite is not enough. You have to do large number of tests to see whether it is, what is the quality, what are the properties, etc., etc. So the first thing we did is we have to measure the thickness. Every time we have put 6 layers, pressure compaction is done, and the thickness is measured using some sensor. We see that the composite parts made by mechanical agitation are much thicker and the variation is much higher. So each color is one aspect ratio, 1, 2, 5, 10. It is much higher. Okay. And by the matte stacking, the first method, the compaction is much better and the uniformity is, the thickness measurements are more or less uniform across the plate. This has also been shown in the figure D. The red gives you the variation of thickness at every point. So basically what we are trying to do is you have a plate, you keep it on a surface and a sensor measures the thickness at different points. So per plate you do extremely large number of thickness measurements and you plot it. So for a single plate, if you do mechanical agitation, the thickness can be from 3.2 to 3.6 millimeters. Whereas if you do the more careful stacking, it is 2.5 to 2.8. And as you increase the aspect ratio, the variation increases for mechanical agitation, and the matte stacking variation is low and the thickness is also lower. Thickness is lower, it means that your stiffness is going to be higher because the material is the same, it is occupying less volume. Next, we have to find, so the thickness is what is happening in the outer surface. Next, you can also do what is known as an ultrasound. So basically, if you have a stomach ache, if you go to a hospital, the doctor might conduct an ultrasound. We do that also for composite materials. So this box is filled with water and you put your composite part at the bottom and it throws sound signals. And depending on how the sample bounces the sound signals, you can find out the voids. For example, the F figure is a properly made industrial standard composite made out of virgin material. All the fibers are continuous. You see it's almost blue, E and F. But A, B, C, D, F, you can see a lot of tiny specks. All these are voids that have been built. As expected, mechanical agitation, the color is brighter. The brighter the color, the larger the size of the void. And our matte stacking is slightly better. You have to do some more quality checks before actually somebody is willing to invest in your material, as to use your material in the design. So in this, we've done what is known as micro CT. In micro CT, you can take images of your material at different cross sections, and there are softwares where you can stitch all the images to get a 3D image. So in this, you are looking at the voids. The larger the color, the more brighter the red, bigger the voids, and so on and so forth. So A and B. So B is your matte stacking. So you have large number of voids, but they are smaller. And D is your, where you are putting and mechanically agitating. Now the voids are smaller in number, but they are bigger and they are more needle-like shaped. Okay. What is most interesting is the E and F. E and F images are the micro CT images looking at it from the through the thickness. You can see that if you put a layer by layer, more or less you see some order and the waviness of your chip has decreased. But if you mechanically agitate it, the chips have a tendency to also go out of plane. All this will lead to higher voids and lower properties, which we also see. So if you have matte stacking and mechanical agitation using micro CT, you can also count the number of voids and the void size. So mechanical agitation leads to larger number of voids and the size is also slightly higher. What does this mean? Mechanical agitation perhaps is not a good way to make a composite plate using structures like this. And also when we made samples, we tested it, the matte stacking has better properties. So this is strain, this is stress, aspect ratio of the chip is 1. The matte stacking strength was about 160, 170, mechanical agitation is about 100. Similarly, for all others, you can see that the strength is better, which tells you that better quality leads to better performance. If you can reduce the voids, if you can reduce the size of the voids, more or less you can expect what you are seeing here. So now we've reached a stage where we know how to make a material. We know more than one way to make a material, and we know which is the better way, and we know some strength values. But now the challenge is, how can I improve the strength? How can I design using this material? So let us see. And also, sorry, before we go to that, not only is the property of the mechanical agitation lower, but the variation is also higher. So if I do 5 tests, if my quality is poor, I will get lower properties, and also the variation will be lower, which means that my parts are less reliable even at the reduced modulus and strength. And also the damage modes are different. This is different because the microstructure is different and the shapes are different. So, but now the problem statement is, look, I have a raw material. I know many ways of making a composite material. I know which is the better way of making a composite material, but how do I design it? So to design it, we have to go to finite element calculations. And how do we? So one was, we made multiple chips and we were joining it. Okay, this actually, the slide that you see is actually a BTP work performed at IIT Kharagpur several years ago. So multiple chips are on one top of each other. Where 2 chips are connected, the strength there was modeled to be higher. At the rest of the places, it was lower. And then we were looking at stress concentrations. So we can see that stress concentration happens where multiple chips, suddenly you go from multiple chips to 0 chips, like this region. So if I want to model strength, these are the places that are interesting to me. And similarly, using this method, we can also try to model, we can also build an entire tensile coupon and then test it virtually and compare it with our experimental. The point of doing it is that if we have something like this, then every time I don't need to run the test again. Once I have a virtual method and I know how that my methods are more or less close to experiment, then you have good confidence, and from the next iterations you only do the modeling, you don't do the tests again and again. So we were able to say that, look, FE models, we can get stiffness of up to 5 to 10%, and as compared to a virgin material, we are reaching about 50-60%. Keep in mind that we have used waste material. Okay, another point is we could use what is the mean field homogenization. Mean field homogenization, we will learn later in the class, or you will also learn in your micro and nanomechanics course. The idea is that you try to solve a problem where there is single inclusion in an infinite sea of matrix. You introduce some approximation and you calculate the effective properties. But the problem is that this is only valid for ellipsoid shapes. Ellipsoid shape is a very versatile shape. You can model metal matrix composites, bone, non-crimp fabric, polycrystal, short fiber composites, foam, but you can't do chip because the shape of the chip is, you cannot approximate it like a ellipse. So what we calculating the effective properties using a hybrid model where the strain concentration tensors were calculated using finite element and the rest of the calculations were done using mean field homogenization. And we were able to calculate the modulus and the strength reasonably. Not only that, we were also able to calculate the scatter using simple models that have been built. So now we know how to calculate the modulus. We also know how to calculate the scatter, which is actually not too off. It is reasonably accurate, but it was very quick and efficient calculations. Based on these calculations, we were able to say how much extra matrix can be added, what should be the orientation, etc., etc. And now we were in a position, now we know how to make it. We also know how to calculate the effective properties. We have some ideas of how to calculate the strength. So we can start with designing a product. So we built a large number of products using this composite material. For example, we made a stiffener, we made flat plates, we made cylinders, we made also actually mobile casing. And we thought that the strength is reasonable, it looks nice, so why not make a mobile casing? And then later we found out that that was a bad idea. Why that was a bad idea? Because these are made of carbon fibers, and carbon fibers have electromagnetic shielding properties. So if you make a mobile phone cover with this material and put it on, then the signal receiving capacity of a phone was actually reducing. So not only do we have to look for mechanical properties, sometimes we have to look for other considerations also. So after building products, after doing a lot of brainstorming, we found out that one very strong culture of students, like we use bicycle, their students use roller skates. So using the technology that we built, one of my students while I was at the US actually has now started a startup which is known as 121 Seaboards. So he collects waste from Airbus and SpaceX using the process and the design that we just discussed. He builds roller skates. So, and those are substantially higher than wood, but they also perform better, and he's doing good for himself. But the problem is that there is a lot of push from the material supplier to use these materials, but we also need pull from the civil society. Means there are many companies who are willing to give you this waste. It is up to the civil part, the civil society, to use that waste to make viable materials which can be sold. So currently the waste that is being generated is much more than it is being used. Okay, one of the reasons is that people are still not buying it because they think it is carbon fiber and the property is good. So these roller skates are being purchased only because they think that, oh, it is made out of the same material out of which rockets are made. So there is what we call high-tech sex appeal rather than actual applications that is taking place. So still there is lot of scope, but I think with this example, I am able to give you a overall design, an overall view on how a new material is designed. You have to first decide how to manufacture it. Then you have to do a large number of quality checks. What is the thickness? What is the void? What is the coefficient of variation of the modulus, etc., etc. Then you do mechanical tests. You find out the modulus. You find out the strength. You compare it with existing materials. Is it in the same ballpark? Once you do that, then you need to develop models to calculate the effective properties for the material that you have designed, so that you can do design and iterations can take place much quicker. After all of that is done, then you find out a effective alternative or effective mode where your material can be used. Once all that is done, then only a new material can come into the market. So with this, I am ending my presentation. Any questions? I understand you will not get all the details.